So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. Now there were some major news that we covered over the last couple of months, and I ended those videos by taking a commitment to bring to you guys any major updates if and when they arise. So there are a couple. Let us have them. First, we have an update on Timi Ajayi, the so-called gospel singer who ended the life of young Salome, a youth copper who he claimed was his girlfriend. Timi has now been charged and arraigned in court, and to the shock and utmost surprise of many, he pleaded not guilty. Now, for those who do not know, when I say he has been arraigned, an arraignment is the first formal appearance of an accused person after they have been charged with a crime. So all this while, when they were in police custody, they are called suspects. But as soon as they step into the court of law and are arraigned, they become accused persons. Now, during an arraignment, an accused person must be informed formally of the charges that are being brought against them. It must be read out to the accused in the language that he or she understands. In this case, Timi has been charged with the offense of culpable homicide, punishable by death. After an arraignment, there goes to the second stage of a criminal proceeding or a criminal trial called the plea taken. A plea taken is a formal response to the charges leveled against the accused person. So when these charges are formally read to the accused during arraignment, the accused must choose to enter a plea, and pleas consist of two primary answers. First, guilty. So that is an admission of the crime. And at this point, it is straight and direct. It brings us closer to judgment and sentencing. But on the other hand, the accused person can choose to enter a plea of not guilty, meaning I did not do it. Or there are other circumstances that existed in that situation that, despite I did it, doesn't make me culpable or liable for the offenses that you are charging me for. And so when the news got out that Timi had entered the plea of not guilty, all hell broke loose. A lot of people were shocked, angry and offended that Timi, who was almost caught in the act, the murder weapon was found at his residence. Parts of the deceased were found in his custody, and on top of it all, he has given a confessional statement. How can such a person then stand before a competent court of jurisdiction and open his mouth to say he is not guilty? So who then is? And we began getting those words and mutterings here and there that, oh, this man must be backed by some powerful people. Oh, this is how they want to release him. This is... Whew, calm down. The truth is that 95% or more, even more, of criminal trials, at least in Nigeria, begin with the not guilty plea. Even if that person was caught in the act of the crime, even if that person had issued an earlier confessional statement, and I'll tell you the reasons why. First, the presumption of innocence is a very core, fundamental principle in every criminal jurisdiction all over the world. So when an accused person is brought before a court to answer for a crime that he is alleged to have committed, in the court's eyes, the predisposition is that he did not do it. It then becomes the prosecution's job to prove, to dismiss that presumption and prove that he did it. Not his job, not the defense's job to not prove or to disprove the prosecution's allegations. An accused person in a criminal trial is not necessarily standing trial to prove his innocence. He is standing trial for the prosecution to prove his guilt. So the presumption of innocence in Timi's favor is sacrosanct, and the onus of proof lies and remains with the state. Secondly, an accused person may choose to enter the plea of not guilty in order to keep their legal options open and of course to increase the chances of a better outcome for themselves. Unlike a guilty plea which immediately results in a conviction, And most times the maximum sentence is issued because you have said you did it, so there's no need for long story. A not guilty plea allows for legal defense. Defenses such as provocation, defenses such as self-defense, insanity. So these other things can be explored in order to obtain a minimum sentence. So a not guilty plea would ever remain an accused person's delight, especially in jurisdictions where plea bargaining is not really prominent. Thirdly, it usually affords these accused persons the opportunity to consult with a legal counsel. As many of you may already know, one of the major and fundamental human rights of an accused person is a right to legal representation. And sometimes these accused persons are just picked up and thrown in prison and they're taken to court. Some of them do not get the opportunity to consult with a lawyer for the lawyer to tell them what to say and what not to say. But when they are arraigned, it is the judge's responsibility to ensure that that person is duly represented by a lawyer. And if they cannot afford legal counsel, one will be appointed for them. So some of them, it is after this arraignment that they ever get to talk to a lawyer for the first time. So they would typically enter that not guilty plea, which is the safer plea, until they're able to converse with an expert. So I would say it's an almost normal flow of criminal proceedings in Nigeria for an accused person to enter a not guilty plea. Nothing prohibits him from doing that. It is his constitutional right to enter that plea. But don't be alarmed. I personally believe that the prosecution has a mountain of compelling evidence stacked against Timi to go through a trial and secure a conviction. So the arraignment and the plea taking marks the beginning of the case, and the trial is on. They have adjourned for the next hearing. I will keep my ears and eyes open on that case, and I will inform you if something else comes up. But before we move on to the next story, what do you think about the law's liberty to accused persons who had earlier confessed or who were caught in the act of committing a crime, giving them an opportunity to still plead not guilty? Do you think it's a waste of time that once a person has confessed to committing a crime, they should just sentence him and give him his conviction? Which one is taken through 2, 3, 4 years of trial again? Do you believe that it would have been better if convictions could be immediately secured for people who have confessed? Or do you think that no, it's good for them to be given a fair hearing, for the courts to hear their case properly, even if they were caught in the act and they had confessed to the crime? Drop your thoughts down in the comment section. So next we have some updates on the Dele Farotimi and the affair Babalola case, the defamation story that rocked the media a few months ago. So just to recap, or for those who do not even know at all, Dele Farotimi, who is a Nigerian lawyer, a human rights activist, and a civil rights activist as well, was arrested by men of the Nigerian police in November, or was it November, December last year, on allegations of defamation that were leveled against him by Afe Babalola, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria. That's a very, very senior lawyer. These charges stemmed from Barrister Dele's book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System, where he accused the SAN of corrupting Nigeria's Supreme Court. Now, citing about 31 mentions from this book, the SAN, Afe Babalola, alleged that he had been defamed by Barrister Dele. And so Barrister Dele was arrested, commando style, and whisked off all the way from Lagos to Ekiti State. He was charged with 16 counts of criminal defamation at a magistrate court there, and then later 12 counts of cybercrime at the Federal High Court. He was handcuffed, remanded in prison for weeks, and denied bail for a while. This episode and this incident didn't go down well with a lot of people, and of course it sparked widespread public outcry and condemnation. A lot of people believed that Afe Babalola's actions were both oppressive and abusive, and that defamation should be left as a civil matter and not a criminal issue. Well, the update on this case now is that His Royal Highness Afe Babalola has now agreed to withdraw all the charges that were instituted against Barrister Dele. He said that after the intervention of several notable figures, several public figures, including former President Olusegun Obasanjo, the Oni of Ife, name it, that he has now decided to withdraw all the criminal case against Barrister Dele. I really do not know how to feel about this news. I do not know whether to be relieved, to be angry, to be happy, or to say good riddance. Well, let us get your reactions down in the comment section. This is just me telling you guys that this case has now been officially dropped by the son, Afe Babalola. Do share your thoughts down below. And our last update is on this very sad, tragic story that we covered sometime, was it last year? I think 2023, on the Fatinoyes. I don't know if you remember the story, but whenever you want to catch up with my story, you could just go to YouTube on the search icon, or you can go to my channel videos and search for that topic. You'll find the video there. So it was the case of a couple, Mr. Kehinde, who was an ex-staff of the CBN, the Central Bank of Nigeria. For those who are not Nigerians, that's like our apex bank, our number one bank, a government bank that, you know, produces money and all of that. And there was his wife, Bukola, and their only son, their only child, Oreoluwa. And all three of them were brutally eliminated, taken off the surface of the earth by their driver. So on that fateful day in December, the family had just returned from crossover service. It was the 31st of December. So they went for crossover. They just got back from church. And as soon as they got into the building, they were quickly followed by their family driver, who came in company of his cohorts. They robbed this couple, a couple that provide daily bread for him. They robbed them, and as though that was not enough, they eliminated them. And even after that, they didn't stop there. They burnt their remains and burnt their whole house down. And then they adopted their son. They had two sons before. One of their sons passed that same year that they just left. He was playing football, he slumped and passed. So it was only Oreoluwa that was left as their only surviving child. And then they adopted another child. So both Oreoluwa, their biological child, and the adopted child, these men from the underworld took these two boys, tied their hands to the back, and threw them into the Ogu River. So that is how they eliminated, just wiped that family lineage away, eliminated every member of that family. Why? Just because of phones, jewelries, car, maybe laptop. That was why a staff that has been brought in trust took the life of his boss, his boss's wife, and all their children. Thankfully, all of them, I think there were 3 or 4, how many were there? But the driver and his cohorts, they were all apprehended by the police, and they were charged to court for the offense of murder. And although the counsels of these accused persons pleaded leniency from the courts, the trial judge was not buying it. The trial judge held that due to the manner at which those killings were carried out, these accused persons did not deserve the mercy of the courts, and so they were handed down the maximum punishment for their crimes. They were slammed with the penalty of death by hanging or by lethal injection. Justice. Can we call it that? We know that it is a little piece compared to the enormity of the loss suffered. But we can just hope that it gives the family some kind of peace, or maybe closure. Drop your thoughts on what you think about this verdict. So guys, yes, we have come to the end of today's video. If you're new here, you're seeing me for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, drop all your comments down in the comment section, and stay glued, for we have so much more coming your way. It's me, your girl Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye.